if certain cops started watching these videos and knew that their story was coming, they might just look to fucking kill me. Okay, so then the next, after that little incident with the Canadian Customs at my flight so the FBI can arrest me, then the next time I got arrested was a few months later, and that was a doozy. And this is part of the reason why I'm telling part of these stories now in full, because if certain cops started watching these videos and knew that their story was coming, they might just look to fucking kill me. So I'll just get this story part out of the way now, so it's out there. Kill away, motherfuckers. They'll know who just randomly shot me for no apparent reason. Anyway, so these cops, an anonymous tip. So my roommate, this he's trash human being. This guy is really trash human being. I could just tons of stories about this guy. I've been involved in this weed business my whole life. I've met a lot of people that are really trash people. They just, lie, cheat, steal. I always treated it like a business that I wanted my customers to be happy and to come back to me. That's how I treated the weed business, okay? And just like any other business. Well, a lot of people don't do that. They just treat it like any other criminal activity. So, this guy was just a trash human, and he just lied, cheat, steal. He was on probation, lying to his probation officer, and he had some problems with this guy, and this guy was with him, or he was with this guy, and the guy called in a tip, an anonymous tip on him, and so his probation officers, just checking out an anonymous tip about, hey, this guy doesn't live here, he lives over here at this other address. That was the whole tip. That was all they were there. And then this numbnuts, my roommate, I just call him his name. Fuck it. I'm not gonna lie about the guy. I think the last time I saw this, I'm pretty sure he was literally laying on the sidewalk sleeping in front of like a homeless shelter. So, and the time before that, he was pulling some parts out of a BMW in a parking lot behind the bar. So, anyway, a couple probation officers show up looking for him, and he's got his little retard friend there. His idiot friend. These probation officers knock on the door, ring the doorbell. He goes down and lets them in. So these probation officers walk into the house. This guy just grabs it and runs. And then Cedar's got like 40 pounds of weed just laying on the floor of his bedroom. So they immediately call the 911. And I'm upstairs in my, like, literally safety door. They would have had a nightmare busting in my room. And I'm up there. I don't know what's going on. I had just been partying my balls off like a day or two ago or something like that. Somebody knocks on my door. And I'm like, and they're like, police? I'm like, holy shit. They're like, can we come in? I'm like, no. I'm not dressed. And they're like, we don't care. And I'm, well, I do. And I says, like, I'll take a shower and I'll come down after I wake up. And what's the problem? And they're like, well, do you have another entrance or something like that? And if I just would have said, yeah, I got my own entrance, then they might have left me alone, but... So yeah, I just walked downstairs and was immediately arrested when they asked me if I had my own entrance or not. And I said no, and they're like, okay. this guy's got a bunch of weed, so you're arrested too. And then they went into my room, and I was a party animal, and so I had all my party favors and a little bit of hash and some ecstasy. No real weed, just some like leftover I had. And then there was a like over $500,000 in the house. This is why these cops would kill me right now, because of this part of the story. The house is full of 911 cops, right? They're just regular cops. They're not like detectives that have been on some like sting bust, nothing like that. It's just 911. Yeah, we're a couple probation officers, and we just walked into a house full of weed. Can we get back up? And it was like early in the days in downtown Portland, so there was really no action going on. These cops are searching the house, and they're just, like I said, normal cops. And they find the suitcase, and it's locked, and they drag it out into the living room, and they're like, what is the combo? What is the combo? And then they start like, they got, I don't know what they got, some tool or something. They get it open, and they literally like all cheer and then go silent. And then they shut the case and they go into the bed, into Cedar's bedroom. So it's like a multiple level house, like the street, you went upstairs to the entryway, and in the entryway there was another apartment across, and then ours was upstairs. So it's more like a duplex, really. So we went upstairs, and then that got into the main living room, and then Cedar's room was off to the side, and the kitchen was off to the side, and then another set of stairs, and my room was all the way at the top. The cops have cargo pants on. Cargo pockets are all empty. And then they come out of the room and they're all full. And then they come back from outside and their pockets are empty. And then they go back into the room and their pockets are full again. There was about $550,000 in the suitcase, and the paperwork came back at like 225, 250, something like that. I can look that up. I got the paperwork. So the cops stole $200,000, stuck it in their pockets, and left with it. And they stole all. I had a really nice bike, like all kinds of. I mean, the forfeiture paperwork was a joke. It was like a bed and something. I mean, these guys just literally backed up their cars and just loaded up their cars with my money, my toys, my everything. So the drug war makes it legal for people to come in your house and steal your. And if you look in the Constitution, that's a no-no. But yeah, weed. This is where my cops steal. I'm sure if I thought about it, I could think about another occasion that I had where cops have stolen from me. Those cops left me in handcuffs for over 8 hours that day. My roommate, and I didn't get fed for so long, it was ridiculous. Because basically I had told them to f*** off when they were like wanting me to snitch, and I pretty much just watched my roommate start snitching on people. I watched Cedar start snitching on people right off the bat. They literally pulled like a fanny pack out from underneath a cupboard or something that I didn't even know was there. And before that thing even got opened, and Cedar said whose it was with the initials of TR. He snitched him out like that. I knew he was going to be telling. That fool He got into telling so much, he was setting people up at the camp, prison camp, Sheridan, where I just got my trailer. Sheridan had a camp without a fence around it, and people used to run to the road to get stuff like protein and weed and cell phones. And he got that crew busted like in his first 5 seconds on the yard there. Yeah, he was an epic piece of... So to see him end up homeless is kind of like, you know, that is one dude that deserves that. I mean, he was literally sociopathic. I mean, like, he just did not give a f about anybody but himself. Let me see now. Tons of prison stories, none of which you'll believe. Unbelievable. Because prison camp isn't a type of prison. Federal prison camp isn't a type of prison a lot of people know about. I got some stories, some pretty unbelievable stories. And so progress now. Years later, I get out, and I'm out of a halfway house. So the halfway house, I was actually living in my own apartment while I was in the halfway house. It's just kind of a phased thing they do, the feds do. So first you're in prison, then you get in a halfway house. Then while you're in the halfway house, you're on like house arrest, and then you're on probation. I was like 2 months out of the halfway house and I had this job at Subway, and I had to get up super early in the morning to bake the fresh bread. This douchebag that lived next door in this apartments that I lived in, I could just go into this whole other story about this guy, but anyway, he's got his when I can just tell this other story really quick. It's just like me and another tenant literally had to go into his apartment. He had his stereo cranked like distortion levels, and he was passed out drunk on his couch, like unresponsive levels, right? The same guy again. It's like 11 o'clock or something, and he actually already should have been kicked out. The rule in that apartment complex was you were kicked out on your second complaint. That dude had 2 complaints, and they didn't kick him out because it was 2 brothers. One brother got a complaint, and the other brother got a complaint, and they didn't communicate to each other about the situation. And I paid the price for that. Once again, somebody else just doesn't do their job, and I have to go to jail. I'm knocking on the door. The guy comes out swinging. I defend myself on a porch that was this little tiny area. There was no room to run, which in Oregon, when somebody assaults you, you have to run. It's the opposite of stand your ground. It's that you got to run away. If you defend yourself and you win, then you're the problem. Yeah. Ridiculous. I mean, the guy was just floundering. We flopped into his doorstep, and he hit his face on the ground. I mean, I didn't even really, anyway, trying to just skim over these stories because these are way in the future. I'll get to the stories and tell them really specifically in theory. So I can stand up. I'm in his apartment after he basically drugged me in there. I mean, I was basically grabbed onto me. We tripped over the stoop and fell in. And I'm like, turn your stereo down, blah, 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 blah. Turned the stereo down, and I left. Well, another neighbor had come out and saw me coming out of the apartment. And so, of course, charged me with all this bullshit, guy lies, and I'm on probation for the feds, and the feds just violate you for anything. Any new criminal activity, violating. So I was looking at a federal violation, and the plea agreement before trial was 5 years, right? So 5 years, and then the feds violation was going to be another 4 years or something. So I was about ready to get 9 years in prison 2 months after I just got done doing 7 years in prison. And I'm like, this is fucking insane. I'm like the farthest thing from a prison person. So anyway, I go to trial, and I beat all the charges but one, assault. I literally, like, the lowest level of assault in Oregon, because I won the fight. The non-fight, the him floundering around drunk, hitting his face on the floor after, basically just on top of, the system's such a joke. Justice is a joke. It's all bullshit for money. That's it. They don't give a. That judge was like, well, I gotta give him something because that's some money, and we'll get a, if he does any little other thing, we'll get even more money out of him. That's how they think. It's the money. It's such a up system. Look up here for my system that doesn't involve prisons. Playlist.